What's up, guys? Andrew Sivo here, sales at Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson, and this is my 2017 Dyna Lowrider S. This is my second bike. I have the 2017 Street Glide Special. This is my Canyon Carver, if you will, kind of a little bit more commuter, lane splitter. It's a little easier to get to and from, faster. In my opinion, cooler on some of those Sunday beach rides. I'll go over little things I've done to it. I did, obviously, the most visual thing is the paint job. A good buddy of mine, Ted Courts, he painted this. Took him my tins, and he did it inside of 2 weeks. Let him do his flare on it. I told him the gist of what I wanted done to it, and he took over, man. I mean, he really did a good job on the heavy gold flake, the custom Harley ghosted bar and shield into the tank right there. Yeah, he really knocked it out. I really enjoy it. The pinstripe is color matched to the color of the wheels, which I thought was pretty nice. I kept the stock rear fender. I like the way it looks. The bob fender looks pretty cool. I was thinking about doing the full lowrider fender, but I ended up keeping that. I bought the bike used. It had about 600 miles on it. It came with the license plate mount with the brake light and the alloy art turn signals and running lamps, which is a cool touch. The bike actually came with bags, Viking bags, and a passenger rider backrest. So I took that off because I had these the docking hardware stuck out pretty far, and I had my Street Glide for bags and stuff, so I just ended up taking those off. I have progressive shocks. I believe they're 970 progressive shocks. They are 13.5 inch with a piggyback reservoir. Had Jamie dial them in. As far as the suspension, the front end, it is stock, which I am soon going to replace, probably with Olin's, Racetech, or Legend. I got the bike last week. It was just done, and me, Nick, and David, we went up to the canyons, and I wanted to see how this thing would run. The front end is just, for me, it's too washy, too soft. It just dives every time I apply the brakes. So definitely need stiffer suspension in the front, but that's next on the list, and some rotors and stabilizers, a couple of things I want to do. But yeah, I just got the bike back, and I did do the Stage 4 117. I haven't really gone on it because I am still breaking it in, and this thing will put stretch marks on your face, and I haven't even taken it past 4,000 RPM. Shifting gears, I'll go up to 3,000 and then shift, fourth gear, and then that instant torque, I can feel it right away. Another thing I did the JD Customs Gen 2 T-Sport fairing. It's adjustable. There's two knobs here where you can rock the windscreen forward in a up position and also a down position, which works really well. I thought it was going to be gimmicky, but it actually works. It's a great build and design. Keeps the wind out of hitting me straight in the face. Also did the brass collection gas cap and gas gauge. Did the hard case performance 9.5 inch risers with their Pro Taper motocross bars on it, which sits about 11.5 inches, give or take. Which is, I really like them. The Lucky Dave bars are cool, but I always like the actual riser setup. I just wanted to go with something like that. And they do have, on the back of this riser, there's a mounting points where you can actually relocate these gauges up here, which I think I'm going to do in the future, because looking straight down at my tank is distracting, especially when I'm trying to keep it under 4,000 RPM. Have the Generation 2 Two Brothers exhaust on it. The bike came with the Generation 1 Two Brothers exhaust with a carbon fiber tip. I didn't like it because it was all black. I like the stainless look. It's starting to, bronze out at the header, which I think looks really cool. Eventually going to get pegs, but yeah, that's in the future. Still in the process of building it. But yeah, man, I love this thing. It goes, it moves, and yeah, it's one hell of a joy to ride, man. Lighting, yeah, it's a Daymaker, Harley-Davidson Daymaker headlamp with the custom dynamic rings in here. No auto tuner yet, just the street tuner. Got the Lucky Dave seat. Tune-up seat, which is really comfortable because I just bought the seat and I was hoping it would be comfortable because I've ridden stock seats before on different bikes, and I'll ride them, and the lower back would get fatigued and it would just be a pain. But I ended up getting the seat. I really like the style of it, and yeah, and I'm so glad it's comfortable. That was a big thing for me. I think, what else? Yeah, this is the bike in its current state now. Yeah, when I got it, it was pretty much stock. It didn't have the bars, it didn't have the suspension, but yeah, I'm enjoying this bike, man. It's one heck of a ride.
So around the shop, Andrew's really earned the reputation of a guy who's not afraid to open up the throttle and squeeze all the power available out of any given engine. And on his bike right here, like he said, he's got the 117 cubic inch engine build that he just had installed recently. And during this video, he is breaking in the engine, so he's going through the proper procedures of breaking in. And I bring this up for two reasons. One, I know a lot of people are going to ask me in the comments why he didn't get on it harder. And two, I wanted to take this opportunity to go over some of the break-in procedures when you get a new engine kit, and this can be applied to a stage 3 or a stage 4, really anything where you rebuild the top end, the pistons and the cylinders. So there's definitely things that you want to do to increase the reliability and extend the life of your engine. And these break-in procedures are taken right off of Harley-Davidson's servicing literature, and so this isn't like bro science or something like that. This is straight from the Harley-Davidson factory. And so I'll just read some of these things here. They say proper break-in is critical to realizing maximum life and performance of your engine kit. We cannot stress this enough. Follow these steps to the letter. Ignore any alternative methods you may read about on the internet. I can't tell you how many times, guys, people come into the shop and they read something off of like HD forums or V-Twin forums or whatever other chat room Reddit that there may be on the internet, and it's just bogus information. So you really need to be careful about where you get your information from. So there are several different heat cycles that the technician that installs your kit will do. which is another reason why you should get these kits installed at a Harley dealer, is because if you don't do these heat cycles properly, once again, you're not going to get the maximum life and performance out of your engine. So after several different heat cycles that the technicians started up for 10 seconds, shut it down, let it cool down completely, start it up again for 20 seconds, let it cool down, then they'll take a ride. And on the first ride, you're supposed to keep the RPMs down as much as possible and keep air flowing across the cylinders, so no stop and go traffic stuff. And ride it for no more than a mile, and then shut it down and let it cool completely. This is a ride that we at our shop also do. The technician does it. We don't have the customer do that. I'm going to read another paragraph here as just a side note before I move on. Harley-Davidson says minimizing heat is absolutely essential to successful break-in, and excessive heat will damage your pistons and forever condemn your motor to be a mediocre performer. The reason for this is that neither your rings nor your cylinder bores are perfectly round on initial assembly. Therefore, the rings are actually only making contact with the cylinder walls in a few places. The tension of the rings is concentrated in these places, increasing friction and heat. This condition exists until the rings have a chance to carve the cylinders into their shape. While this process is taking place, however, the rings and pistons are very vulnerable to damage from excess heat. You can learn more about this phenomenon by researching ring micro welding. It's a very real risk to your engine. So once again, the first ride that the technician does is they keep the RPMs down as low as possible and keep air flowing across the cylinders and ride it no more than 1 mile, and then shut it down and let it cool completely off. Then for the second ride, which the technician does as well, they treat it very similarly. They don't exceed 3,500 RPMs. Once again, keep air moving across the cylinders, so you don't want to get stuck in stop and go traffic, especially in high heat situations. And then you ride it 2 miles and then let the bike cool down completely. At this point, the bike is then handed over to the customer, and for the next 50 miles, you do not want to exceed 3,500 RPM and avoid using full throttle. Vary your speeds, allowing the engine to pull and then decelerate gradually. This reversal on the rings from pressure to vacuum assists in the seating process. Now after 50 miles, for the next 500 miles, stay below 4,000 RPM, avoid using full throttle, and keep the heat down. Once you've passed the 500 mile break-in period, change your oil and filter. During break-in, the rings have carved the cylinders into their shape and the shavings have been captured in the oil, so you want to change the oil and get the stuff out. Use a high-quality 20W50 oil formulated for air-cooled V-twin engines. We recommend HD Syn 3 of HD360 oil. Now you're ready to enjoy the full power of your new engine kit. So I wasn't planning on going through these break-in processes when I first started making this video, guys, but I felt like it was a good opportunity since Andrew, during this video, is actually breaking in the engine, and he's in the cycle where he's beyond 50 miles but before 500 miles. So he's keeping the bike below 4,000 RPM, trying to keep air continually flowing across the cylinder heads and avoiding excess heat, which it was really hot this day, so hopefully it's fine. But yeah, he kept the bike moving pretty good.